Welcome to Inside English. Step inside the world of stories, language, and ideas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside English. I'm James. It's so good to have you here today. Today, we are going to talk about a very special book. It's small, it's simple, but it touches the heart deeply. The book is called The Little Prince. The writer is Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He was a French pilot and writer. This book was published in 1943. That was during World War II. The world was dark. People felt lost. And in that time, this gentle story appeared. It's a story about a little boy from another planet. It's a story about friendship, love, and loss. Many people think this book is for children, but it's not. Well, it is, but it's also for adults. Actually, it's especially for adults, because adults forget important things. They forget how to see with the heart. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at the stars? Not just looked, but really felt something? When was the last time you cared about a flower? Or missed someone so much that the whole sky felt empty? This book reminds us. It reminds us to see the invisible, to feel what matters. The author, Saint-Exupéry, was a pilot. He flew planes across deserts and oceans. He saw the world from above. He knew what it feels like to be alone in the sky. He knew what it feels like to be far from home. Some people say this book is about his own life. Maybe the little prince is the child inside him. Maybe the rose is someone he loved and lost. We don't know for sure, but we can feel it. We can feel the loneliness. We can feel the love. So today we'll walk through this story together. We'll meet the little prince. We'll meet the pilot. We'll meet the fox, the rose, and many strange adults. And we'll ask ourselves, what did we forget? Let's begin. The story starts in a desert, the Sahara Desert. A pilot crashes his plane there. He is alone. The plane is broken. He has water for only 7 days. He needs to fix the plane or he will die. On the first morning, something strange happens. A small voice wakes him up. The voice says, "Please, draw me a sheep." The pilot opens his eyes. He sees a little boy. The boy has golden hair. He wears a green coat and a long scarf. He looks serious. He looks like a prince. The pilot is confused. He says, "What? Where did you come from?" But the boy does not answer. He only says again, "Please, draw me a sheep." So the pilot draws a sheep. But the boy says, "No, this one is sick." The pilot draws again. "No, this one is too old." He draws again. "No, this is not a sheep. It's a ram." Finally, the pilot is tired. He draws a box. He says, "The sheep is inside." And the little prince smiles. He says, "That's exactly what I wanted." This is how they meet. The pilot learns that the boy comes from a very small planet. The planet is called asteroid B612. It's so small that the boy can watch the sunset 44 times in one day. He just moves his chair a little bit. The little prince lives alone on his planet. Well, not completely alone. He has 3 volcanoes. 2 are active. 1 is extinct. He cleans them every morning. He also pulls out baobab seeds. Baobabs are dangerous trees. If they grow too big, they break the planet apart. The little prince is very careful about this. Every morning he looks for new seeds. He pulls them out when they are still small. He says it's a question of discipline. When you finish washing and dressing each morning, you must clean your planet. But the most important thing on his planet is a rose. One day, a seed arrives. The little prince does not know what it is. Then one morning, a flower appears. It's a rose. She is beautiful. She has 4 thorns. She is proud. She is delicate. And the little prince falls in love with her. He waters her every day. He puts a glass cover over her at night. He protects her from the wind. He listens to her when she talks. But the rose is difficult. She coughs to make him worry. She complains about the cold. She says, "I need a screen. There are drafts here." The little prince brings her what she needs, but she is never satisfied. One day the rose says something cruel. She says something that hurts his feelings. The little prince feels confused. He loves her, but she makes him tired. One day, the little prince decides to leave. He feels sad, but he thinks the rose does not need him. He thinks she is too proud to care. Before he leaves, the rose says, "I was silly. Forgive me. Try to be happy." She does not want him to see her cry, so she turns away. And the little prince leaves. He begins a journey. He visits other planets. He wants to understand the universe. He wants to understand adults, and on each planet he meets a strange grown-up. On the first planet, he meets a king. The king has no people, but he gives orders to everything. He says, "I order the sun to set," but the sun sets anyway. The king thinks he controls the world, but he controls nothing. The little prince thinks, grown-ups are very strange. On the second planet, he meets a vain man. The man wants everyone to admire him. He says, "Clap your hands. Say I am handsome." The little prince claps once, then leaves. The man is alone again. The little prince thinks, why do they need so much attention? On the third planet, there is a drunkard. He drinks to forget. The little prince asks, why do you drink? The man says, to forget that I am ashamed. Ashamed of what? Ashamed of drinking. The little prince does not understand this. He feels sad for the man. On the fourth planet, he meets a businessman. The man counts stars. He says, I own them. The little prince asks, what do you do with them? The man says, nothing. I just own them. I count them. I put the number in a bank. The little prince thinks this is useless. He thinks grown-ups are very odd. On the fifth planet, he meets a lamplighter. This man lights a lamp every minute, then puts it out. Because his planet spins very fast, the little prince feels sorry for him. He thinks, this man thinks about something other than himself. He is the only one I could be friends with. On the sixth planet, he meets a geographer. The geographer writes big books, but he never leaves his desk. He does not explore. He only records what explorers tell him. The little prince asks, is my rose in your book? The geographer says, we do not record flowers. They are ephemeral. The little prince asks, what does that mean? The geographer says, it means they do not last long. The little prince feels sad. He realizes his rose will not live forever. He realizes he left her alone. He starts to miss her deeply. The geographer tells him to visit Earth. So the little prince comes to our planet. On Earth, the little prince feels lost. Earth is so big. It has deserts, mountains, oceans. It has billions of people. But the little prince feels alone. He walks through the desert. He climbs a mountain. He thinks, maybe from up here, I can see everyone at once. But he only sees rocks and more rocks. He shouts, hello! And his echo answers, hello, hello. The little prince thinks, what a strange planet. Everyone just repeats what you say. He walks and walks. Then one day he finds a garden full of roses. There are 5,000 roses. They all look like his rose. The little prince is shocked. He feels sad. He thought his rose was unique. He thought she was the only one in the universe. But here, there are thousands just like her. He lies down in the grass and cries. He says to himself, I thought I was rich because I had a unique flower, but I only have an ordinary rose. That and 3 volcanoes that come up to my knee. I'm not much of a prince. Then a fox appears. The fox says, good morning. The little prince says, good morning. Who are you? The fox says, I'm a fox. The little prince says, come and play with me, I'm very sad. The fox says, I can't play with you. I'm not tamed. The little prince asks, what does tame mean? The fox explains. He says, it means to create ties, to make someone special. Right now, you are just a little boy like 100,000 other little boys. I don't need you. You don't need me. I'm just a fox like 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, we will need each other. You will be unique to me. I will be unique to you. The little prince listens carefully. The fox continues. If you tame me, my life will be full of sunlight. I will know the sound of your footsteps. Other footsteps make me hide underground, but yours will call me out like music. Look at the wheat fields over there. I don't eat bread. Wheat means nothing to me, but if you tame me, wheat will become wonderful, because it's golden, like your hair. When I see wheat, I will think of you. The little prince begins to understand. He asks, how do I tame you? The fox says, you must be very patient. First, you sit down far away from me like that in the grass. I will watch you from the corner of my eye. You will say nothing. Words cause misunderstandings, but each day you can sit a little closer. The fox also says, "It would be better if you come at the same time. If you come at 4 o'clock, I will start to be happy at 3. As the time passes, I will feel happier and happier. At 4 o'clock, I will be excited. I will discover the value of happiness. But if you come at any time, I will never know when to prepare my heart." So the little prince tames the fox. Every day he comes at the same time. He sits closer and closer. They don't speak much, but they create a bond. They become friends. When it's time to leave, the little prince feels sad. The fox says, "I will cry." The little prince says, "That's your fault. I never wanted to hurt you. You asked me to tame you." The fox says, "Yes, I know." The little prince says, "So you gained nothing." The fox says, "I gained something. I gained the color of wheat." Then the fox tells the little prince a secret. He says, "Come closer. I will tell you. Here is my secret. It's very simple. You can only see clearly with the heart. The most important things are invisible to the eyes." The little prince repeats slowly, "The most important things are invisible to the eyes." The fox says, "It's the time you spent on your rose that makes your rose so important." The little prince says, "The time I spent on my rose." The fox says one more thing. "People have forgotten this truth, but you must not forget it. You are responsible forever for what you tame. You are responsible for your rose." The little prince says quietly, "I am responsible for my rose." He realizes now. His rose is unique, not because she looks special, but because he spent time with her, because he watered her, because he listened to her, because he loved her, because he is responsible for her. That's what makes her special. That's what makes anything special. Love, time, responsibility. The little prince decides. He must go home. He must return to his rose. The little prince meets the pilot in the desert. They spend 8 days together. They talk. They share water. They laugh. They become friends. The pilot learns about the rose. He learns about the fox. He learns about love and loneliness. He learns what it means to see with the heart. The pilot also tells the little prince about his own life. When he was a child, he drew a picture. It was a boa constrictor eating an elephant. But adults said, "Why would you draw a hat?" They couldn't see what was inside. They only saw the surface. The pilot stopped drawing. He became a pilot instead. He lived among grown-ups. But he never forgot. Deep inside, he was still that child who could see more than a hat. Meeting the little prince changes him. It reminds him. It wakes something up inside his heart. On the 8th day, the little prince finds a well. They walk together to find water. The desert is beautiful under the stars. The little prince says, "What makes the desert beautiful is that it hides a well somewhere." When they find the well, they drink the water together. The little prince says, "This water is good for the heart. It's like a gift." The pilot understands. Water is not just water. It's the journey. It's the friendship. It's the stars above them. Then the little prince tells the pilot, "I must go home now." The pilot is surprised. "How? Your planet is so far away." The little prince says, "I will meet a snake. The snake will help me." The pilot understands. The snake's bite is deadly. The little prince will leave his body behind. His spirit will return to his planet. The pilot is heartbroken. He says, "Please don't go. Stay with me. We are friends." But the little prince says, "I must return. My rose is waiting. She is alone. I am responsible for her. I left her alone. That was a mistake. I must go back." On the final night, they walk to the place where the little prince first arrived. A yellow snake is waiting. The little prince says to the pilot, "Don't come tomorrow. Don't come to watch. It will be painful for you." But the pilot says, "I will not leave you." The little prince says, "Don't be sad. It will look like I'm dying. But I'm not. I'm just leaving my body. It's too heavy. I can't take it with me. It's just an old shell." He says, "When you look at the stars at night, you will hear me laughing. All the stars will be laughing. That will be my gift to you. You will have stars that can laugh." The pilot starts to cry. The little prince says, I will have stars too. I will live on one of them. I will be laughing on one of them. So when you look at the sky at night, it will be as if all the stars are laughing. You will have stars that know how to laugh. The little prince smiles. Then he says, tonight, don't come. But the pilot stays. The snake bites the little prince. He falls softly like a tree falling. There is no sound. It's very gentle. In the morning, the pilot looks for his body. But there is nothing. The little prince is gone. The pilot finishes fixing his plane. He leaves the desert. He returns to his life. But he is not the same. Now when he looks at the stars, he smiles. He knows the little prince is up there. He knows the little prince is taking care of his rose. But sometimes the pilot worries. He thinks, did the little prince remember to put the screen around the rose? Is she safe? Did the sheep eat her? And when he thinks this, all the stars seem to cry. The pilot says, for you who also love the little prince, nothing in the universe is the same if somewhere, we don't know where, a sheep we never saw has eaten a rose. This story is simple, but it stays with you forever. It teaches us about love. Real love is not about owning someone. It's not about beauty or perfection. It's about caring. It's about being there. It's about being responsible. It's about creating ties. It teaches us about loneliness. Everyone feels alone sometimes. The king, the vain man, the drunkard, the businessman, they are all alone because they forgot how to connect. They built walls. They stopped taming and being tamed. It teaches us about time. We spend so much time on things that don't matter. Numbers, money, rushing. But we forget to spend time on what makes life beautiful. Friends, love, roses, sunsets. It teaches us about grown-ups. Grown-ups care about numbers, money, and power. They say, I own a house. But they don't say, I love this home. They say, this person is useful. But they don't say, I care about this person. They forgot the important things. They forgot beauty. They forgot friendship. They forgot the heart. The little prince says, grown-ups never understand anything by themselves. And it's exhausting for children to always have to explain things to them. But maybe it's not too late. Maybe we can remember. Maybe we can become like children again. Not childish, but childlike. With open hearts, with wonder, with the ability to see what's invisible. The fox's secret is the heart of everything. You can only see clearly with the heart. The most important things are invisible to the eyes. Love is invisible. Friendship is invisible. Happiness is invisible. Beauty is invisible. But they are real. They are the most real things in the world. So I want to ask you, do you have a rose? Someone you care for? Someone you feel responsible for? Have you been watering that rose? Or did you forget? Did you get too busy? Did you let time pass without saying, I love you? And the people who tamed you, are you still there for them? Or did you disappear? Did you break the ties? The little prince left his rose. He thought she didn't need him. But she did. She was just proud. She didn't know how to show her heart. And when he left, she was alone. But he came back. He realized. He understood. And he went back. Maybe we need to go back too. Maybe we left someone behind. Maybe we need to water our roses again. And when you look at the stars tonight, will you hear laughter or will you hear silence? If you loved someone, if you tamed someone, the stars will always speak to you. Because love doesn't disappear. It lives in the wheat fields. It lives in the stars. It lives in the heart. The Little Prince is not just a story. It's a mirror. It shows us what we lost. And it reminds us we can still find it again. We just need to open our hearts. We just need to see with more than our eyes. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this story touched your heart. I hope it reminded you of something important. Maybe tonight look up at the sky and smile. Because somewhere, on a very small planet, a little boy is watering his rose. And maybe if you listen carefully, you can hear him laughing. Take care of your roses, everyone. Take care of the people you tamed. And remember, the most important things are invisible to the eyes. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening with your heart. See you next time on Inside English. Goodbye.